Hey, my name is Nam. I'm here to guide you through this grounding practice today. This is a great practice if you're feeling a little tense, a little anxious, a little edgy. It's a nice way of calming down, of just getting centered and grounding. Really great everyday practice as well. So we're gonna get started standing. Place your feet wherever you feel comfortable underneath you. Close your eyes and maybe rest your hands by your side. If closing your eyes doesn't feel great, you can keep your eyes open as well. As you start to connect your breath, maybe begin to roll your shoulders around, shrug them up and down, back and forth. What would it feel like to create as much space and movement through your shoulders as you can, to feel them free? Use this time to start to connect your breath. And as you roll your shoulders, maybe start to rock your weight side to side from right foot to left foot as well. Feel the weight through your heels and your toe mounds. And perhaps you let your breath guide you side to side, creating a little bit of rhythm. And perhaps you reverse that circle in your shoulders, so roll them forward and down, back and up. You can experiment with maybe rocking your weight forward and backwards from your heels to your toe mounds as well. Notice your desire to shift forward or lean forward, shift back and lean back. Just let whatever happens, happens. Feel free to do whatever you want to do here, whatever feels good. I like to roll my head around as well and let my neck free up a little bit as well as I roll my shoulders. And come back to center, feel your feet below you. Maybe bend your knees a little more, maybe bounce up and down so you feel your legs grounding and sinking into your floor a little bit more. Good. You can start to swing your arms side to side and let your shoulders and hips follow, doing a couple of twists side to side. And notice that your weight shifts from your right foot to your left foot. Notice your knees shifting forward one at a time. And notice, are you leaning forward? Are you leaning back? Are you standing tall? Where are you here? Shift side to side. Perhaps you observe the feel of air brushing across your arms, between your fingertips, even across the tip of your nose. If your eyes are closed, maybe observe the light filtering through your eyelids. Shift side to side. And stay with your breath and come back to center. Feel your body adjust and adapt and settle in towards this standing pose. Feel your feet below you, your legs grounding through your feet into the mat. Okay, we're going to move into a powerful squat. Our next pose is essentially chair pose. So first, shift your weight forward and backwards a moment. And then feel most of that weight shifting into your heels. And maybe you actively press down through your heels and bounce up and down so that you get your knees to move up and down a little bit, bend and straighten a little bit. And eventually, you can start to bend your knees a little more and sink down as if you're sitting into a chair pose. And maybe you reach your arms forward in front of you. You may want to find some stillness here, sitting into your chair pose. Be tall and be proud. Lift your chest a little higher if you'd like. And if you'd like to reach your arms overhead and extend through your fingertips, reach up towards the ceiling, feel free. Now, sometimes when I lift my arms overhead, my shoulders shrug up towards my ears and I get tense in my neck. So I'm going to try to just relax my shoulders down a little bit. Sometimes while I'm here, my lower back starts to kind of talk to me a little bit. So if I feel that my lower back is talking to me too much, maybe I reach my arms down and back behind me. That's going to take pressure off my lower back. And observe the experience that you're having in your legs. What's happening with your lower back and your hips. And perhaps you choose to sit taller, maybe come out of the pose a little bit, or if you like, you might want to sit a little bit deeper and come deeper into the pose. Now, at some point, you're going to feel that this is enough for you and you don't want to be here anymore. That's totally fine. And start to fold forward. Keep your knees bent. Allow your torso to drape over your thighs. You can either let your arms dangle underneath you or maybe tuck your hands inside of opposite elbows. Your chin rests toward your chest somewhere, and the back of your head is long towards the floor. And even here, feel your feet grounding through your mats or through the floor. Rock your weight side to side. Notice how you feel along the back of your legs. Rock your weight forward and backwards if you like. Notice how the shifting of weight changes the sensation in your lower back and your hips and your hamstrings. And take a moment to reconnect with your breath. Notice how deep it is, how shallow it is. Can you find a way of doing this pose and be easy with your breath, be easy with your body, and be easy with your mind? Maybe place your hands to your knees just for a little supports. Keep your knees slightly bent and slowly rise back up. Come up to standing. As you come up to standing, place one hand on your belly, maybe one hand against your chest. Close your eyes if that feels good. Otherwise, keep them open. And take a moment to observe. Notice the effects of those two poses that we just did. Observe how your legs feel, how your feet feel, how they ground through your mats. Maybe you notice how your mat or the floor feels below your feet as well. We're going to do that one more time. So, shift weight into your heels, start to bend your knees, and sit down into your chair pose. Again, your choice. You can reach your arms back behind you if this feels like where you want to be today. You can reach your arms forward, looking forward. Or, if you'd like to extend your arms overhead, feel free to do that. And notice in your body if there's any spaces where you can create more freedom, more movement, or more space to move. Or if you feel constricted or contracted, can you soften those areas? Notice your general sense of reaction towards this pose as well. Are you working hard to stay in this pose, or is this easeful for you? Can you find a way to be a little more easeful versus more effortful and working too hard? And at some point when it feels right for you, when it feels like you want to fold forward, let that happen. Release your hands towards the earth. You can keep your knees slightly bent. I like to do that so that my lower back gets a little bit more sensation. Allow the back of your skull to sink towards the floor. And again, you can keep your hands down on your mat or on your shins. You can interlace your fingers or interlace your hands and your elbows. Come back to that sense of grounding. And can you drive through your legs a little more? And maybe you feel as if that allows you to release a little more tension through your shoulders and your back. Once again, you place your hands, your shins, or your knees, and then slowly rise up. Come up to standing. Rest your hands by your side. Eyes open or closed, hands on your body somewhere. One hand on my belly, one hand on my chest is where I like it. I'm going to start to observe how my belly expands and contracts into one hand, and how my chest lifts and lowers away from the other hand. Here I try to find a balance between being easeful and effortless while still maintaining a rather slow and deep breath without forcing it. We're going to move into the next part of the class. This is going to be a sequence of 3 poses. So stand tall, rest your hands by your side for a moment. There's going to be a little bit of balancing. So if you're close to a wall and you're having difficulty balancing today, always a nice opportunity to place your hand on the wall to stabilize yourself. Start to shift your weight from side to side, from right foot to left foot. Feel your weight shift from one foot to the other, but also feel your weight shift away from one foot and away from the other. And once you feel calm and steady here, shift all of your weight to your right foot. Ground down through that right leg and feel your foot connecting to your floor. Feel the floor rising up to meet you from below as well. And then maybe today you just lift your left heel off the floor and experiment with feeling your toe pads pressing through your mats. From there, do you feel that you can stand a little taller? Can you feel that you can be a little longer and taller in your body? And perhaps you press your toes and come onto the tips of your toe instead. Maybe just the tip of your left toe and feel that. You may start to shift and shimmy. You may start to shake. That's perfectly okay. That's just the natural process of balancing and adapting to movements. And if it feels okay for you, maybe you lift your knee up a little higher and your foot lifts off the floor fully. Now, if you're near a wall or even a chair, you can place your hand on that wall or chair to steady yourselves and balance. And you don't even have to have a strong grip on that wall or chair. Maybe just your fingertips tap the wall and chair. So you use your hand to play with that balance as well. If your knee wants to slide higher up toward your chest, let it happen. And notice, do you feel that you're leaning forward? Do you feel that you're leaning back? Can you create a sense that you're standing a little taller and straighter? And perhaps you maybe reach one arm up to the ceiling. And if not, you're not using the other hand to balance yourself, maybe you reach the other arm up toward the ceiling. If your toes are on the floor, that's totally fine. Maybe both arms reach up as well. Take one more breath here, slow and easy. And then slowly step that left foot back and behind you. It doesn't have to be too far. Just step it back enough so that your right knee can bend and you can ground your left heel to the floor. Start with your hands down by your side for a moment. Feel your left foot pressing down, especially the outside of your left foot driving through the floor. And feel what happens with your left thigh and your left hip. I feel my left, there's a lot of sensation in my left hip. I actually like to think about my chest lifting up and away from that left hip to create a little bit more of that sensation, a little more of that experience there. Can you feel what your feet are doing? Are they gripping your mat? Are they holding on for dear life? Can you just relax instead, or can you find a little more ease there? Perhaps you reach your arms forward, just like we were doing in chair pose. Perhaps you reach your arms up towards the ceiling and extend up. And just like in that chair pose, if it feels really good for your lower back to reach your arms back and behind you, that's a great option too. Good. Either way, feel your chest lifting up toward your chin. Feel the back of your neck is long, the back of your skull lifts up towards the ceiling. Good. The third pose in the sequence is just stepping forward. So your left foot's going to step forward to meet your right. And we're going to fold forward one more time. While you're here, if it feels good to start to straighten your knees a little bit more, allow that to happen. If you feel that that creates a little bit of an unwanted sensation in your lower back or your legs, then keep your knees bent. Feel your breath moving through your body. We're going to rise up again. So ground down through your feet. Push down and slowly stand up with control, with confidence. Shift your weight side to side once you're up. Stand tall. Again, feel that weight shifting into one foot and away from the other foot as well. Eventually, you'll shift your weight to your left foot. Stand, be tall, be confident if you can. And then maybe lift your heel off the floor. So your toe mounds and your toe pads press down. When I do this, I feel my calf, the back of my shin, contract and fire up a little bit. And then, again, if you have the balance, maybe you lift your toe mounds and press your toe tips into the floor. And if you'd like, and if that leg wants to, you can start to lift your knee and lift your foot off the floor, finding balance here. All that shifting and shaking and shimmying, all that adjustment, that's natural. Again, that's your body adapting to the movements of your arms, your shoulders, your hips. So instead of me fighting against it, I just let it happen and I go with it. And eventually, as I start to breathe and I accept this movement, that movement becomes a little more subtle. I don't have to fight it as much. As always, fingertips on your wall, on your chair, on whatever is stable around you is a good option. And maybe lift your knee a little higher if that feels good. I feel a lot of strength in my hip as I do that. For me, part of grounding is also finding focus. So I find one thing to focus on and look at while I'm balancing, just to help me find a little stability here. I'm not shopping around for things to look at. I just choose one thing and softly gaze at it. Let's slowly step that right foot back behind us. I like to lean forward a little bit. That helps me find balance to reach my right foot back. And as my foot lands, I'm going to turn my toes out slightly so my heel grounds to the floor. Good. First, I focus on that back foot. I feel the outside of my foot pressing down. I feel my mat pushing back up against my foot. And that allows me to lift up and away from my right hip a little bit more. I spend a little bit of time feeling what I feel here in my right hip and even in my right belly. And sometimes I feel some type of experience all the way down towards the top of my knee. Yet from there, I use that strength to push and maybe drive my left knee forward a little bit, just a slight amount. So I feel my left leg do a little bit of work as well. And again, options here, arms still by your side, maybe arms reach back behind. As I do this, I like to squeeze my shoulder blades together. Arms forward towards the front of the room. Or arms extending up and overhead. Can you feel your breath expand into your rib cage and into your belly? And what arm variation can you create a little bit more freedom for that breath to move? Sometimes if my shoulders are tight and I try to reach my arms overhead, my chest gets a little tighter. So I back off and I reach my arms forward just to create that sense of freedom to breathe. And as I feel that I want to, I'm just going to let my hands come down slowly with control, step my foot forward, and one more time, take a forward fold. Again, this is your chance. This is an opportunity for you to feel what your lower back feels like. Feel what your hips and your legs feel like. And feel how your neck, how your skull is heavy. One more time, ground through your feet and slowly rise up. Stand tall with your hands by your side. With your eyes open or closed, take a deep inhale through your nose. And maybe a slow, soft, open mouth exhale. And do that one more time. Deep inhale. And however you want to release that breath, let it go. Good. All right, so let's sit down. We're going to move into star pose. So as you sit, place your feet together so the soles of your feet touch and your knees are bent and wide. Place your hands behind you for a moment or by your side and just rock side to side and feel your hips sink and ground into the floor. This helps me to create a little space so that I kind of nestle into the floor. If your heels and your feet are all the way in, and this creates a lot of tension and sensation of pain or discomfort in your knees or even in your inner thighs, slide your feet forward and give yourself some more space. And place your hands on your shins somewhere. I like to move into this pose by articulating my spine and moving my spine first. So inhale, lift your chest, stick your butt back a little bit, arch your spine. And exhale, round your spine. Do that one more time. Inhale, lift your chest and arch your spine. And exhale, this time round, and allow yourselves to fold forward as much as you like. And rest your chin on your chest. If it feels good, you can rock your head side to side. While here, it is less important to me how far I can fold forward. What's more important to me here is how easeful I can be in my spine. How easeful can I be in my breath? I look for the joy in this pose. And slowly rise up. Sit up tall. You'll plant your feet in front of you with your knees bent and place your hands behind you. Your fingers can face outwards, it can face back behind you, or it can face forward towards the front of your mat or towards your hips. Whatever feels more comfortable for your hands. And in any direction, any angle. Sometimes I like to point my fingers out because sometimes my wrists bother me a little bit. Roll your shoulders a couple times, just to open up through your shoulders and chests. And the next time that your shoulders drop back and down, feel your hands pressing down through your mat and start to lift your chests. Maybe you create this sensation as if your shoulder blades are lifting your chest up towards the ceiling. Notice if your head tilts back all the way, that may strain your neck. So can you perhaps find length along the back and the front of your neck? And feel the more that you push down through your hands, what happens with your chest and your rib cage. Feel the less that you push down to your hands, what happens with your chest and your rib cage. And choose something in between where you feel easeful, yet open and free. Now take one more breath here. All right, so sit up, let that go. You'll stretch your legs in front of you and lie down. As you lie down, draw your left knee into your chest and keep your right leg straight. Use your right hand to guide your knee, your left knee, across your body. We'll move into a supine twist. So for me, when I do this, my left shoulder lifts off the floor. So what it helps is that I try to slide my shoulders over to the right a little bit, and that allows my left shoulder to release towards my mat a little bit more. For some of you, that may work. For some of you, that doesn't. But if your shoulder is off the floor, not a big deal. Don't worry about it. Just focus on feeling how your spine is twisting here. And can you feel any more tension releasing through the rest of your body? Can you feel the support of the floor below you? And slowly come back to center. Maybe draw both knees into your chest. I like to rock side to side here. It massages my lower back a little bit. And then keep your right knee in. Extend your left leg away from you. And your left hand is going to guide that right knee across your body to your left. Again, I like to slide my shoulders to the left a little bit as well. I feel that helps to lengthen my spine, to create a little bit of space and twist through. Can you feel the sensations of this twist as you breathe? I often observe the ebb and flow of the sensations of the twist, so that as I inhale, that sensation increases. And as I exhale, I feel a softness through the twist, almost like I'm releasing into the twist a little bit more. All right, slowly bring yourselves back to center. Draw both knees into your chest. Again, rock side to side. Maybe you choose to circle your knees as well, in one direction and the other. Moving into our final resting pose, stretch your legs long. I like to have my heels wide as the corners of my mat, just to give myself some space. I like to lift my chest and scoot my shoulders underneath my chest a little bit more so my shoulders don't shrug up towards my ears, and my hands are wide. And this final relaxation, can you feel your legs releasing any amounts of tension? Maybe your legs and your knees turn out a little bit. Can you feel the weight of your body releasing into your floor? And at the same time, can you feel the floor rise up to support you from below? Feel held. As you feel the weight of your head on your mat, perhaps you slowly rock your head side to side. as if you're softly trying to imprint the shape of your skull in your mats. I like to have my hands wide, but sometimes I don't have the space to do that, so it feels nice to rest my hands on my body somewhere. This allows my shoulders to soften down a little bit more. If your hands are on your body, it's also another opportunity to feel your breath rise and fall into your palms. Give yourselves the permission to feel all that you feel here, experience all that you experience. Perhaps you notice the temperature of the air around your skin. Notice the sounds from around you. And finally, notice your mat below you, rising up to support you from below. Feel held. One more time, feel what you feel. Notice what you notice. And perhaps you acknowledge the general sense of comfort that you feel. And start to rock your head side to side. We awaken your body. Maybe you choose to wiggle your fingers, your toes, or circle your wrists and your ankles. Find some larger movements. I like to reawaken by reaching my arms overhead and stretching my body out. My lower back arches away from the floor. And sometimes I yawn here. That feels good. Good. And when you're ready, draw your knees to your chest. Slowly roll to one side and come up to a seat. You can keep your eyes closed, or you can softly open your eyelids and gaze at something softly. One last chance to notice your breath while you're here. To feel your inhales expand through your body, to feel your exhales soften and deflate. How do you feel now versus when you first stepped onto your mats? Can you allow yourselves to acknowledge a little more sense of grounding, a little more sense of peace, a little less of whatever you felt at the beginning of class? All right. Thanks for joining me. See you next time. Peace.